You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on the BQN Podcast Collective. I'm your host for today, Thad, and joining me is my co-host, Chrissy. How are you today?
Well, I'm doing all right. Getting some work done on the starship here and making sure that everything works out okay. Finding that other people are annoyed with the settings in my car, and I understand that. How about you?
Well, I cheaped out and didn't put a complete environmental suit in the locker like I was supposed to. I hope that's not going to be a problem for anybody.
Ooh, yeah, that's might want to do something about that. Of course, if it's only for show anyway.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I was surprised they put anything in those lockers.
It was too.
Also joining us today is Alex Perry from Trek Core and Weekly Trek. Alex, how are you today?
Hello! I'm good, how are you?
We're great.
Good.
Happy that Strange New Worlds is back.
Yay!
Hell yeah!
Alright, before we jump into our topic for today, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons who make our show possible, particularly our associate producers, Carl Wonders and Chrissie De Clerck-Szilagyi. Listeners, you can hear your name listed as one of our associate producers for a monthly subscription of just $10 at patreon.com/BQN. And with a monthly Patreon subscription of just $5, you can join our meetings of the Hive Mind on the second Saturday of each month. Watch your Patreon messages for details. Alright, so Star Trek Strange New Worlds has returned with The Broken Circle. Alex, what did you think of this week's episode?
Strange New Worlds is back, baby!
Hell yeah, it is.
And it's pretty much the same as it was last season, which is a good thing, because Strange New Worlds is great. We love Strange New Worlds. I like this episode a lot. I didn't expect them to do the Klingon episode out of the gate, which I was pleased to see. And, this is a Klingon episode. It's the first Klingon episode we've had in a while, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, since Season 2 of Discovery.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Oh, yeah, it has been that long.
First live-action Klingon episode. Obviously, we've had Klingons on Lower Decks and Prodigy.
Yeah.
And I think the big reason for that, as we've all speculated in the intermediary time since Season 2 of Discovery, is that they haven't been showing Klingons because of the decidedly mixed reaction that the appearance of the Klingons on Discovery got in certain circles of fandom.
But they took care of that this time, because we see all the different types.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
We saw a lot of different kinds of foreheads.
Mm-hmm.
And even some that I'm not certain whether they were Klingons without ridges or other people part of this conspiracy. I don't know. But we definitely saw completely ridgeless people on that ship as well.
Yeah.
I think they did say, though, in the episode that it was like a loose alliance of the humans and the Klingons who lived on the planet who were trying to do it. As much as I want them to do a flat foreheaded Klingon eventually, yes, I don't know we got that this week.
No, I don't know that we did either, but we definitely got a lot of infinite diversity in Klingon foreheads.
And hairstyles.
Mm-hmm.
Which I loved. I mean, just name it up the top. The redesign of the Klingons, fabulous. To my mind, what it should have been in 2017, and what every other race that they've, sort of done an update to has had in all of the live action shows, which is, it is faithful without being slavish. Yes. It is modern without being, way too far. and all around, like, I just thought it looked good, the Klingons sounded good, it felt very Klingon, just all around I was a big fan of this version of the Klingons, and I hope that, you know, this is what they stick with now.
I agree. I think faithful without being slavish is a great way to describe it, and I think that also works for how they did the Romulans last season in Equality of Mercy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the Romulans, just like the Ferengi in Star Trek Picard, like, just like the Andorians, it is all good.
We jumped right into the Klingons. Chrissy, I never asked what you thought of this episode.
That's all right. Yeah, I think this is it's a great start to the season. You know, we're hitting it running, so to speak, and to use Pike's phrase. I was also surprised that we saw the whole Klingon drinking with Spock and all of that right off the bat. And I had almost forgotten that La'an had gone off to look for the little girl's parents, so that was not good on my part. But good story, you know. I like that she found them, and I liked that one of them was not obviously gendered. Like, I think it was supposed to be two women, but I'm not sure. So that was kind of cool. We can come back to that when we talk about her.
That is cool. I didn't pick up on that.
Well, maybe I was reading too much into it.
Like, I don't picture the parents at all because we barely saw them, I think.
Ah, yeah. Well, when you go back...
Because the Klingons showed up and immediately, you know, did their thing.
Mm-hmm. Caused trouble.
Yeah, I was not expecting the Klingons this early. I think I was expecting the episode Under the Cloak of War to be about the Klingons. But now... Yeah. I guess that could be Romulans or could be Gorn, since we're apparently setting up a Gorn war.
Could still be Klingons, though. It's not like we have a one Klingon episode limit.
That's true.
Could be all three.
Oh, boy.
But just to go right off the bat, I love how the space dock kind of looked like an oil change place with all the ships pulled in like that. I just thought that was beautiful. We've never seen them set up that way, so it makes sense. I like it.
Yeah, no, it does. Also, talking about for the beginning of the episode, did either of you notice that there's a couple new scenes in the theme?
I meant to ask you about that, and I forgot to. It didn't get from my handwritten to my typed notes. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, love it. Like, I'm all for them in the same way that Lower Decks makes those, you know, little changes to the opening every season for Strange New Worlds to do the same. There are certainly plenty of Strange New Worlds for them to visit, and this is just a couple more.
Yeah. Like the first time I'm like, is that new? But then they'll show another shot that's like, oh, that I've seen before. So then I'm like, well, maybe I was just forgetting it, and then I had to look at them side by side. I'm like, nope, there's new scenes.
Well, when you don't have to set up a model and a fly-through for it.
Right.
You can do a lot of different stuff. You know?
Yeah, no, and it still looks beautiful. Like, I really like that shot of, like, the Enterprise, like, in the like, coming in low over that planet.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a new one, and I thought that looked really nice.
Yeah. I hope we'll be able to go back at the end of the season and be like, okay, that's from that episode, and that's for that episode, and... That'll be cool.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Sort of like how they did all the things in the Elcar's displays in the Picard theme this season.
Yes. So maybe they will do that.
Alright, so this is a mostly Pikeless episode of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's interesting. Pike going off to convince someone to be Una's lawyer. I'm wondering if he didn't do this in the Equality of Mercy timeline. And because in Equality of Mercy he found out that Una had been in prison for the last 10 years or so, that he's putting more effort into making sure that she has adequate representation to try to prevent that.
Checks out to me. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever know for sure, but...
Well, yeah.
Well, you never know. It could be addressed in a future episode. We could end up back in that timeline for some reason, so you never know.
It's true.
But I like that. I'll take that as headcanon. Although I would want to know why he didn't put in more effort, because he's a full effort kind of guy. What's the Deadpool thing? 100%?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was trusting that once Una was able to say her piece, that they would see her side of the things, but having been to the future, he knows that that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting choice to have decided not to resolve the cliffhanger from season 1 in episode 1 of season 2, right?
Yes.
I mean, we know it's the next episode, it's coming up next week, is going to be the courtroom episode. That presumably will wrap up this Una story, but yeah, and Franson Mount to barely be in it, and for Rebecca Romaine to barely be in it. You know, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it was a surprising choice for them to start the season that way. I had assumed that the Una wrap up would be this week, but I guess maybe they thought a courtroom episode isn't really a season premiere.
Ugh, really? It reminds me of on X-Files during the Scully abduction sequence. There's like 2 episodes about her abduction, and then 1 episode where Mulder's like randomly trying to find vampires in LA, and then it's back to the abduction thing. And
I liked the one where I liked that vampire episode, but yes, I agree.
It's not a bad episode, but you're like, what? Why? Why is this happening now?
So, just as a heads up for our listeners, we are recording this before the episode actually comes out. Normally we don't do that, but due to scheduling things, we had to, thanks to our very generous friends at Paramount, we had a screener and we were able to see this before. So by the time this has come out, I will have been to the premiere event in New York where they show the first 2 episodes together, and I think they go together very well, and we can talk about that more on next week's episode when we're talking about that episode, which we will record after the episode came out.
That makes perfect sense. So how much do we love that one of the engineers has glasses?
I didn't even notice that.
The one that's complaining about the helm being programmed. He has them on, he takes them off, and he just kind of looks at her. Like, really? Cool.
Maybe he's allergic to Retnex 5.
Exactly. That was the first thing I thought. But I like that they're doing that. It's like there's been advances in how glasses function. You know, and obviously contact lenses and all that. Since they were invented, but the basic design, the basic concept has stayed the same. You've got a lens in front of somebody's face, and they didn't try to swap it up for something that looks like a Google Glass, and they didn't try to put him in a visor, and they didn't do anything. Like, sometimes if it works, it works. Even 300 years from now. And I really like that.
And just casually having it on someone and not commenting on it is nice, too. Like the one background character that we would occasionally see on Discovery in a wheelchair. Yeah,
and there's a Sikh and a Muslim woman in a hijab on lower decks too.
Yes,
that we see. Yeah.
Oh, there were some people on Twitter real mad about that too.
Well, they know what they can do with that opinion.
They can die mad.
So anyway, glasses, cool.
Yeah, no, I liked that. I also like. The guy complaining about the helm to Ortegas, like, how many Starship pilots have you talked to? Like, surely, wouldn't you think most of them would have their own control scheme that they've devised that they use?
Nah, love it. Love a good starbase busybody.
Yes. And the other guy, too, with Uhura. Like, I have a job to do. Well, so do I.
I mean, he raises a good point that, in general, they wouldn't need to care about comms for a few minutes while Doctor Space Dock.
True. But
it just so happened that at that time, they were getting the... Yeah.
The other guy has a valid point as well, in that if you have completely redesigned, or even partially redesigned the helm, and you're not there... If somebody has to take over in an emergency, it might be a problem. But...
presumably there's a button you can hit to, like, load the different profile.
Right. That's what... They said that on Next Gen. That, like, when you tap one of the consoles, it recognizes your fingerprint and it automatically resets for whatever your specifications are. Which admittedly you can't quite do with knobs and buttons, but you can shift things.
And they never actually said that on screen, I don't think. But
no, they didn't. But
that was the production reason for, say, for the fact that all the actors did different things on the control panels.
Yeah. I think they addressed it in the post-series books for somebody.
Probably.
I think there was a blind character, and they specifically say they tapped the screen and it changed to... No, it was Tuvok. It was... Because when he touches the panel...
In Year of Hell!
In Year of Hell. And it says adjusted for sightless entry or something like that.
Yeah, he tells the computer to yes.
Yeah.
Adjust for... Yeah, you're right.
The tactile interface.
Thank you. There we go.
But he does... It's not automatic. He does tell the computer to do that.
Right.
All right. So maybe it's not just touching it. But it's still... The capacity is there to make the shift.
Still, if you can get in your car and press a button and it remembers where your seat is located and how the mirrors are done, a 22nd century starship can do the same.
Yeah, some cars can do that. Mine doesn't, which is why I don't let anyone else drive my car.
My parents' car does that, and it's annoying because neither one of them sit where I do, and I don't have a key that's programmed for me.
Ah.
Anyway, so... Chapel's going to go to an archaeological medicine fellowship on Vulcan?
Yeah, that was... I think she's looking for a reason to leave the ship, is basically what that is.
Yeah.
She's looking for a reason to meet up with Roger Corby, a.k.a. the godfather of archaeological medicine.
Yes, I thought of that too.
Oh, yeah, of course. I had not put that two and two together in that way. I was just viewing it as her wanting to get away from Spock, basically.
Well, I assume both will be true.
Yeah.
Right? That, whatever's going to happen with Spock, and then she ends up in the loving arms of Roger Corby.
When Roger Corby is still capable of emotion, yes.
Yes, a little before the androids.
And we have a whole other level of her going after an emotionless person, but not really emotionless, so...
Yes, I think it's safe to say that she has a type.
Yeah! So I think that's cool. Gives us context.
So, speaking of Chapel, apparently Chapel and Mbenga were, Special Forces commandos during the war?
Well, at least Mbenga was.
Yeah.
I guess it's not clear to me that Chapel was, aside from her being that he has trained her in hand-to-hand combat.
Right.
And she'd use that drug.
Right. There's definitely this whole implication behind Mbenga's history, which we don't really get into here, but, clearly is a thing.
We don't know how he was widowed. And I'm beginning to wonder if it was during the war. And because of the war.
I was thinking the same thing, especially with some of the things that he was saying about how is the war ever over and that sort of thing. It's this is personal for him.
Yeah. And I will be interested to see how that goes, how that falls out moving forward, because we could end up retconning him. We have shades of the Undiscovered Country conspiracy here.
Mm-hmm.
And if Mbenga is damaged enough by the Klingon War that he remains prejudiced against them, we could retcon him into that conspiracy, or maybe they'll even put it outright. Because we don't know what happens to him after, the second time we see him on the Enterprise, and that's it. I know I'm, grasping at straws here, but it just...
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Especially given his actions in this episode, where he clearly works to stop it, stop the similar conspiracy this time.
Of course, but, how's he going to feel 50 years from now? 40 years from now. But it popped in my head, so I'm saying it, and,
okay.
There it is.
I mean, the guy's definitely got some stuff going on, and this is not his first, stuff going on.
No.
And there does come a point in time at which he is no longer the chief medical officer of the USS Enterprise, and so it's a little bit take your pick what reason that ends up being.
Yeah, I'm still very curious how they're going to play that.
Well, shoot, I was if we hadn't had the episode where his daughter goes off with the space entity,
right?
It
yeah,
could have been him leaving to take care of her.
Right.
It still could be, I guess. They could go find her.
Well, that comes back to our last episode where we talked about how we thought it was kind of absurd that he was willing to let his daughter go off with the space entity. But anyway. We'll have to see how it plays out. Although, it's interesting. I keep coming back to Quality of Mercy because I just recently watched it for our last episode, and it's a good episode. And it seems as though he is the chief medical officer in that episode, or at least we don't see another one.
Yeah. Is it possible he leaves because Kirk comes in? Because Pike leaves? You know.
But he doesn't leave. He's still on because that's the tricky part, is he doesn't actually leave the Enterprise.
We see him on the Enterprise. That doesn't mean he's there the whole time.
True.
Okay. And, you know.
That's true. And we know that Mark Piper is going to be there for at least a certain period of time.
No, he's already gone. That was before. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, that's not...
That was Boyce.
Guy. Yeah.
Piper's the guy from
so
Where No
go.
Man Has Gone Before.
I remembered halfway through the sentence. All of these things we'll find out.
Yeah. Hopefully after, another, 8 seasons of Strange New Worlds before that happens.
Yes, that'll be just about right. Spock is pretty reticent to be in command, which I found interesting.
Oh, I mean, he's still pretty fresh in his... I mean, not that he's been in Starfleet for a while, but, he's still just a lieutenant. It's not like he's not... Have we seen Spock in command of the Enterprise before in Season 1? Other than in Equality of Mercy when Pike comes up to the bridge.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So, I mean, it's probably just... This is the first time it's happened, so he's understandably a bit nervous about it.
Okay.
I like it. I mean, from the perspective of laying the groundwork for the original series in which Spock effortlessly takes command, at every opportunity, it's cool, I think, to have that, transition and a fresher Spock who, A, is having his emotional difficulties, which I think is super interesting, and then B, is also, in the process of turning into the Spock that we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Every little bit of that. You can follow the lines into later Spock. Particularly the loot.
Yes. So that's interesting. So Spock talks to Mbenga and says he's concerned about his emotional state, which, there's the whatever's going on between Spock and Chapel that neither one of them want to talk about to each other or anyone else.
Okay, so the loot is the one thing I don't like about this episode.
All right.
He already had one in Season 1.
Well, so the reason I don't like it personally is because I really liked that the loot was Spock's one personal choice of expression that he had clearly made for himself that was sort of leaning into the artistic soul of the man. And obviously this doesn't completely discount that because he still plays the lute and it continues on and he clearly does it because he enjoys it. But it's just the fact that it started as a medical prescription rather than he is a man who has things he likes to do and one of those is play music was just a little too why did that have to be given to him? Why couldn't the assumption have held that was something that he basically had for himself, that was part of his personal identity, rather than something that a human suggested to him? So that was just the one piece where it was I just never felt like that needed an explanation, and I liked the fact that it was just his thing. And so I don't love that now it's this sort of, external story-driven type thing, going forward.
I had not thought of that at all.
So I have an issue with it from a continuity standpoint in that the loot was on the wall in his quarters throughout season 1.
Maybe it was just on the wall.
I guess it's in the same way. Yeah, he thrifted it. It looks nice. The way people have, an antique guitar in their wall, even though they don't have the first idea about how to play it.
Like the pistols on Kirk's wall in Wrath of Khan.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, he was in the Old West a few times, so he might know how to use a muzzle-loading pistol. Anyway.
They didn't use muzzle-loading pistols in the Old West.
No, they didn't.
But...
Well, some people, I guarantee you there were some of them out there that people were using, because mountain men used them in years previous. But what took me out of it for this, I didn't even think about the storyline with the loot. I hadn't noticed it on his wall. I was asking myself, why the hell does Mbenga have a loot he obviously doesn't use? He just happens to have a Vulcan loot in the office. What?
It's not like he replicated it on the spot. He just pulled it out.
Yeah.
So actually, that was his room of musical instruments.
Of course,
it's a common Mbenga thing that he prescribes playing music to his patients, and so he just has a little room around the back, which is just filled with all kinds of musical instruments from various different races that he just goes in, and it's he could have pulled out a recorder, but I mean, he was yeah, why not the loot? So there we go.
We missed out on Spock playing the Vuvuzela.
I'm okay with that. But now all I can think of is the tradition of having the symphonies on Enterprises like we see in Next Gen is because of Mbenga and his medicinal music. I like that.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Just wait until a couple of episodes down the line when he wheels out a full piano for Sam Kirk.
Perfect.
And not a baby grand either, a full size.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, full grand piano, baby, just wheeled out into the middle of the sick bay.
All right, so Spock and Chapel, obviously they need to talk to each other about what's going on, but neither of them will.
Yeah. Talk.
Anyway.
Other 4-letter words.
Yeah. Well, yes, there's another 4-letter word that they could do that would also relieve some of this tension.
Family show, Thad. Family show.
I did not specifically say what the word was.
I didn't either. And yes, Strange New Worlds itself is also a family show.
That's true. That is true.
Because it's got the TV 14 rating.
Has anyone not stolen the Enterprise? Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you.
No, you're fine. So Spock, it's the first time historically that Spock steals the Enterprise. It's not the first time in Star Trek that Spock has stolen the Enterprise.
No.
It is a rite of passage.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, so Spock's stolen the Enterprise. Kirk has stolen the Enterprise. Has anyone else, directly stolen?
In the Coda trilogy, but that doesn't count.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't talk about the Coda trilogy in my presence.
Sorry.
Well, they steal the Enterprise. They steal the Enterprise D in Picard.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
I don't know. You're technically stealing it though, since it was Geordie's ship.
That's true.
Yeah, you're just taking it out of the museum for a period of time. You're moving the exhibit.
They steal the Enterprise G before it was the Enterprise G.
All right, I'll give you that one. What do we think about Pelia?
Interesting. I was definitely, until Uhura comments on it, I was really wondering what the heck is this accent.
It's the same. Isn't that just how that actress talks most of the time? It's because it's the same accent she has in Princess Bride.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen Princess Bride.
Yeah. Alex, do you know?
I love Pelia. I was very surprised. It definitely took me a full scene and a half to really, like, lock onto the accent.
Yes.
I don't know if it's just that she did, you know, like, pulled it on more strongly in the first couple of scenes, or if it, like, just took my brain a second to process this, like, strange accent. But, like, once I got it, and I'm fascinated to learn more about the Lanthanites. I like this idea of her being, you know, much older and more experienced and having this sort of mysterious kind of origin that we, you know, like, Lanthanites don't exist in the Star Trek canon. That's not a thing.
Well, they do now.
It'll be really interesting to see. Well, they do now, of course, yes. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over time. And, yeah, I'm utterly delighted by this character.
Yeah, the fact that, and this backstory that Lanthanites lived in secret on Earth for hundreds of years, that's interesting.
Yeah.
If there are any Lanthanites listening to this show right now, don't hesitate to reach out. Like,
please,
that would be cool. We'd love to interview one of you. Anyway.
We'll keep it quiet. So, according to a People magazine article from 3 years ago, that is just her normal voice.
Oh, okay.
And she really hates it when she answers the phone and people immediately know who she is. Which I can understand. Yeah.
Wait, that's what she sounds like?
Apparently.
Where is she from?
Ooh, that's a good question. Nowhere terribly interesting. Cleveland. No insult to Clevelanders, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean...
No, I was expecting a reason for the accent.
I would
Cleveland is not it.
Cleveland to have a pretty bog standard mid-Atlantic / Midwestern-ish accent.
Mm-hmm. So, well, don't know. There's any number of reasons why that might be the case, so... I'm trying to think. Wasn't she in... Yeah, she was in Scrooge. She was the ghost of Christmas Present. Yeah.
I have to admit I've never seen that.
Oh, you have to see. It's a beautiful take on that. And it's Bill Murray and Carol Kane and a whole bunch of other really awesome... That should be the go-to Christmas movie, not that ridiculous movie with the kid and the gun. The rifle that he wants, the air rifle. Not because it's a gun, but... Christmas Story. And the lamp that looks like a leg and all that other ridiculous.
It's a major award.
It's something.
I have nothing against that movie, but I don't understand why it became such a thing. And why they play it over and over again for like 24 hours straight on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
My favorite Christmas movie is probably The Muppets Christmas Carol.
It's a good one.
It's a tie between that and The Santa Claus.
Ooh, The Santa Claus is also really good.
The Santa Claus is wonderful, but I can't watch anything with Tim Allen in it anymore. So it's just kind of like, oh, okay.
I can watch, I can watch Galaxy Quest because I figure that's actually how Tim Allen would be. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I see what you're saying there. It'd be fascinating to talk to Pelia and find out who her favorite artist is, and also wonder how long on Earth was she there before.
Yeah.
How did they get to Earth? There are so many questions about the Lanthanites that I want to know now.
Yes.
Why were they living in secret on Earth all this time?
Because we're awesome. You know, when we have wars and diseases
did she ever meet up with Mistral the Vulcan?
Well, here's an interesting question, which is, she says the last time she served on a starship was 100 years ago, which would be roughly during the Enterprise era.
Yep.
Carol Kane, NX-01 short trek, please.
Better.
And thank you.
Yes. Also, though, Carol Kane voicing on Lower Decks. Did we just find out how we're going to get Lower Decks on Strange New Worlds?
Oh, that's true. Like, she could still just be around in the 24th century. Why not?
I wonder if that's it.
She could do a guest spot on Star Trek Legacy.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes, she could. And she should. And we should have all of everything for Star Trek
Legacy. And for all we know, she may be in Discovery Season 5.
Oh, that would be really... Oh. Yeah. That would be really cool. So she helps them make the fake accident better.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that.
Yeah, I love that she just, like, that she doesn't immediately, when she walks out on the bridge, she doesn't immediately accuse them of anything. She's just like, don't mind me, I'm...
doing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I just loved that whole interaction, and I think the whole crew is a bit nonplussed about this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, she had been in space, but it was 100 years ago, so that's interesting. Like, but we also... She also says that she had only come out as a lanthanite to Spock's mother. Well, that's some interesting small world syndrome there. But so when she was in space before, she was still pretending to be a human.
Yeah, that would make sense. And actually, talking to Amanda as a human who is married to the Vulcan ambassador, for whom it might be a relevant point that there are lanthanites on Earth, I could see where that. You know.
Are there lanthanites on other planets, or are they only on Earth? There are so many questions that I will possibly never get the answers to.
We would need to know their biology. Could they pass as other aliens?
Well, they could live on all those other planets that are, Hodgkin's parallel...
Well, that's true.
Worlds hypothesis, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was a law of... Parallel?
Hodgkin's law of parallel development.
That's it, yes.
Yeah.
All those planets in TOS with the people that look just like humans, they could definitely live there. There could be some of them living with the... there could be some of them worshipping Landru, for instance.
Yep. Some of them with the Nazi people.
Yeah. Some of them on Sigma Iosha, being gangsters.
Yes. Yes.
Some of them with the Akamarians, the especially tall ones, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. This is what happens when we record late at night.
It is. Poor Alex is like, I have a flight in the morning. Get to the point.
I'll live.
Alright, so we get a targeted distress call from La'an. And she's on Kajitar 4, the dilithium mining planet that, since the war, they've been going back and forth every month between the Federation and the Klingons. That is a very odd way to do it, in my opinion. Like, I feel like, wouldn't it be easier to say this half of the planet is Federation and this half is Klingon?
There's some advanced diplomacy going on there, actually, if you think about it. To be able to trade off.
Yeah,
on
like
a
that
monthly
feels
basis. So that's really a good thing.
Yeah, but that's the weird thing about it. It feels way too complex and too, like, for these nations that are not super friendly with each other, that it almost feels harder to do this than it would to divide it up.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't dispute that, but...
Maybe all the dilithium is in one place.
That's possible.
That's a point. That is a point. Yeah.
And so it turns out, though, that there are extremists on the planet that are trying to start up the war again because they sold more dilithium during the war.
Okay, when they said that, did you not expect to see a Ferengi in the next scene?
Oh, yeah. War is good for business.
Yeah.
But peace is also good for business. Those are two different rules of acquisition. Yes, I was thinking of the rules of acquisition with that. What I find interesting is that the ship that they made is a Crossfield class.
Yeah.
But it's a Crossfield class with the design aesthetic of the Constitution class rather than just how Discovery looked. Because it's got the nacelles with the red caps and it's silver rather than bronze, which I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have really liked to have gotten a better look at it. Because it's like, all right, obviously Crossfield class is the same as Discovery, but it's not the Discovery ship. It's a similar-ish one. And so is it like is it this is the Crossfield class to hide the existence of the previous Crossfield class? Or is it that because Discovery was so completely redesigned to house the spore drive, that there are other Crossfield classes that we just never saw outside of the Glenn and the Discovery that look like this, because these ones were never redesigned and rebuilt for a new faster-than-light propulsion system?
Yeah,
that
maybe,
was my thought.
Except it's got the saucer section with the cutouts in it, like the Discovery has, and the reason the Discovery has is so that they can spin that up. So you'd think if they had modified the Crossfield class specifically for the Discovery to be able to do spore drive, then you'd think the unmodified one would have a solid saucer.
Or is it that in Discovery Season 1, they talk about how after the spore drive proves successful, they're basically busy building a bunch of, ships that they could put the spore drive on. And, clearly they never got to the point of putting the spore drive on it because, of everything that happened. And also the fact that you couldn't get it to work outside of one person. But, these are the ships that were built, intended to eventually house a spore drive, where they're well, screw them. They're good ships, just throw them into service. Yes, they have these weird cutouts, and we'll just never explain why that's the case.
What I can say is, seeing this ship, I am sad that Eagle Moss went out of business.
Yeah.
Because I would have loved to have a model of it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like anybody's going to make the, one-off ship that shows up for 15 seconds anymore.
Loved the look of the Klingon battlecruiser, though. That was getting that nice classic look there.
Oh, yes. Just everything about the Klingon aesthetic in this episode completely worked for me. And I'm just I would like to see more of it. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we will have that.
I mean, we could have a series about Klingons. I'd be fine with that, too. The next spin-off could just be, about, a Klingon ship flying around. That could be cool. I
recall, wasn't there an idea put forward in, the early aughts of, Klingon... I think they were referring to as, Klingon West Wing. It would be, the politics of the Empire and stuff like that.
I would also watch Klingon West Wing. Yes.
Yeah. A lot less walking and talking and a lot more walking and fighting, but still good.
Yeah, I would watch Klingon West Wing. That would be fun. I was thinking, sort of like the IKS Gorkon books.
Yeah.
A Klingon ship, following it, going around doing stuff.
Of course, yeah.
I think that could be fun.
Well, that's why we have Wedge Rouge.
That's true. It was an honorable move. Yeah, so obviously the big reason why it looks very Enterprise-y is because they could make it by basically reusing assets, and because all those sets are just the Enterprise sets with added construction things to make it look unfinished.
Yeah, that was painfully obvious in this one. That felt like the original series when they're like, oh look, we're on another ship that's exactly the same design.
Yes.
Which I kind of like. That's a nice little moment there,
I mean, all the shows
I'm down for
did that.
Yeah. I feel like on Next Gen they tried harder.
Yeah, you'd think they could have added giant pillars of light onto the fake Starfleet ship like they did on the bridge of the Columbia in Enterprise.
Yeah, so that's what I say. Make the effort to make it look different. But again, you have to remember it's the Klingons that are just, they've built this thing so that it's just enough so that people will think that the Federation is starting a war.
They did way too much work on that, honestly. It doesn't matter what the insides look like.
Right.
The Klingons are never going to look at that after they destroy the ship. They put way too much effort into building this ship.
I thought of that, and then I was thinking, well, maybe they did that so that if the ship is destroyed and Starfleet comes looking at it, it will look like one of their ships, but Starfleet will immediately know that they haven't lost any of their ships, so it's moot point.
It would never look like Starfleet would never think it was their ship, so that's and the Klingons investigating aren't going to care what the insides look like. They'll see it as Starfleet attacked, and that's all that matters. So They put a lot of effort. They certainly didn't need to put parts of environmental suits in the lockers.
No. But maybe that's the influence of the humans involved, and the Federation people involved.
Yeah, maybe.
Although, again, half of an environmental suit. Did you guys think... You know what that scene reminded me of when they took the super soldier serum? And first of all, which I thought was going to be her stuff from the very first episode where it changed the way you looked, because that would have made more sense. The first thing I thought of watching that was, this needs a seizure warning like you used to get on old Nintendo games. With the flashing lights. I don't know if that's, like, not as much of an issue anymore with new televisions or whatever, but that was a huge deal in the 80s and 90s. I remember that.
I do too, yeah. It was, in the 90s there was that episode of Pokemon that caused, like, hundreds of people to have seizures.
Now that I did not know.
It's Pikachu!
The idea of putting the message into the transponder code is kind of cool. I like that.
I did like that. It's a very Trek thing. We're going to here's some background noise. And we're going to put a message in it. And it's going to be in Morse code because that's the only universal code we could possibly use.
They should have used the chimes from Menage a Troy.
Yes. That's what I was thinking of. Yep. In the warp field noise.
I thought it's interesting that she said it was Morse code 2, so there's apparently a new version of Morse code. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I did catch that. Well, I guess, you'd have to update it and you add different languages.
It would make sense. Add additional characters, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I mean, the fight, the scenes where they're, on the super soldier serum just kicking Klingon ass is kind of fun.
It is. I agree. It was just a little bit like, oh, all right. Flashing lights, that's lovely.
And then, of course, once Enterprise gets the transponder information, Spock is reticent to fire on the ship because he doesn't want to kill Chapel. Very interesting. He's not thinking logically here. No. And I think that's definitely proved when he rushes to the transporter room as soon as they beam them on board.
Yeah. I know. Well, we know from the trailer that they kiss at some point, and I think I'm getting a better feeling about lovesick Christine Chapel in the original series. That this is not just this woman who has nothing better to do with her time than pine after Spock kind of thing. Yeah. That this is actually going to be her dealing with a failed relationship, and that makes me feel better about that.
They have a history. It definitely, I think, makes Chapel in TOS look a lot better.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a cool, interpretation of it.
So, yeah, I think, especially when we think about it in TOS, her lovesickness for Spock really happens after Roger Corby dies. So she's going through stuff and sort of rebounding to the person that she had been previously with, and that makes a certain amount of sense. Yeah.
Before we get past it, because I almost forgot, how fun was it that they stuck La'an in a drinking contest like Marion and Indiana Jones?
I like that. Yeah.
That was just perfect. I mean, yeah.
And she doesn't flinch at all. Which is interesting when you consider how small La'an is. Like you would think that it doesn't matter how good her constitution is. You would think that she just wouldn't be able to drink as much as a large Klingon, just metabolically.
I don't know if you call it a retcon it. I would explain that as one of the genetic modifications is an inability to get drunk. Or maybe it takes a great deal, keep control of yourself. You could see where Khan would want that as a modification.
Well, we made jokes about super soldier serum. It's a canonical thing in the Marvel universe that Captain America can't get drunk.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's funny. He needs to be able to do that, but that's a whole other issue.
I mean, I think most people need to be able to do that from time to time. But yes. But yeah, I very much enjoyed that. I liked La'an a lot in this episode. It's interesting. I'm wondering why were they buying the hand phasers? What were they going to do with those? The Klingons were buying the hand phasers from La'an.
What do you think, Alex?
I assume it was part of the, all connected to the broader plan of deception, trying to convince the Federation that, or trying to convince the Klingons that the Federation have gone to war with them again. That part didn't feel thoroughly explained out, except from the perspective of it's it's sort of pulling back the curtain ever so slightly of Klingons buying specifically Federation technology to, oh my god, they have a starship.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe there's another plot of which we're unaware here.
Or maybe they were planning to do more, but then after the deal with La'an went down, they realized that they had to act now before they were found out, I guess.
That's a good point. I wonder if the reason they were so thorough about the ship was that they intended to actually use it to fool people for a period of time.
Okay.
Maybe the idea of destroying, because it didn't have a name painted on it, so maybe they were going to destroy another Crossfield ship and replace it in the fleet. I mean, I don't imagine that would last very long as a ruse, but...
Yeah, because if they had actually been planning to launch it and attack the Klingon cruiser at that time, why would they have brought Mbenga and Chapel on board to treat the sick people on the ship?
It doesn't make sense to me why they brought them on to treat the sick at all.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, the Klingons, I mean...
But especially if they were about to get the ship blown up in, an hour or two anyway, it really doesn't make sense. So I'm wondering if they had a change of plans after that deal with La'an fell through.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe seeing Starfleet people on the planet.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. They felt like... They felt like La'an was probably going to inform Starfleet, and so they... Yeah, that makes sense. But everybody manages to save the day. We destroy the ship before it can destroy the Klingons. Chapel and Mbenga are beamed out of space.
You don't die in space until it's been a minute.
It's all happy. Spock gets to get drunk with the Klingons. I like that scene. That was fun.
And then later when April's like, are you drunk?
Yes.
Or are you hungover? That's what it was.
Yeah. I like how, Chrissy, we both have the same note. You commented about Pelia saying that the ship that was boring and she likes it, and it reminded her of Simon Pegg's Scotty. And I have that same note in mine. It's I like this ship. It's exciting was the thing that Scotty said after he got on the Enterprise in the 2009 film. So I like that.
Well, after he got out of the water pipes, but yeah.
Yes. And Kirk was arrested. Just after Kirk was arrested, I believe. But we find out that Spock's not in trouble because he prevented a war, and it looks like there's a war with the Gorn coming anyway, and they didn't want to have to fight a two-front war. So that's...
They are inadvertently encouraging cowboy diplomacy that is going to have repercussions for the galaxy for over a century.
Yes.
Because it could be argued that because he didn't get slapped down for this, that he recognizes where it's okay to break the rules.
Now that is a Star Trek 6 tie-in I can get behind.
All right.
And then finally, the episode at the very end is dedicated to Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, that brought tears to my eyes in a wonderful, beautiful way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like how they dedicated the first episode of Picard season 3 to Annie Wershing.
Yeah. Yeah. The little more poetry for Nichelle,
yes.
though, which I appreciated. Yeah.
But I appreciate that they did that in both instances, in this instance especially. It took me a second when I saw that, because I had forgotten how recent her death was. I was thinking, that must have been before season 1, but no, it was last August.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, as far as canon connections go, I mean, the whole show is a canon connection.
I always leave that on the outline, because you never know if there's going to be something interesting that comes up, so...
Yeah, Alex, you're the canon connection guy over at TrekCore. Did you see anything we missed?
I already gave you the Roger Corby one. That's as good as I got for this episode.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, anybody have any other thoughts about this episode? Other than we want more Strange New Worlds?
Yep.
I mean, Strange New Worlds, the show has a vibe, right? Mm-hmm. And I really like the vibe. And it's a very different vibe from Picard Season 3.
Yes.
And so it's but it's not worse, it's just different. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just really happy that we have this vibe back for 10 weeks, because I like it too, and I'm really excited for more of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved Picard Season 3. We talked about that when we were covering that. I love a lot of different Star Trek. There is something special about the way I feel when I'm watching Strange New Worlds that, is reminiscent of how I felt watching Star Trek in the 90s that I don't get with the other shows.
Yeah.
For sure. 100%.
I think it focuses on the idealism more. I really do. I mean, it's not to say that you don't see that. You see that in pieces in Discovery, but it was not... Discovery is about trauma. It's not about idealism. It's not about creating an ideal society. And I mean, you see it in Lower Decks, but Lower Decks is Lower Decks. That's fine. And I think we're going to see the idealism in Prodigy for sure.
Oh, yeah.
We already are starting to, but, you have to introduce the characters and the concepts and everything. But yeah, this feels like I think you could pick this up and put it amongst the Berman Trek, and with the exception of not having the women dressed in cat suits, it would be similar. It would be hold up with it.
And the fact that they occasionally make references to non-heterosexual relationships.
Yeah, that too. Okay, storylines, maybe. Let's just say storylines.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And that's why I love it, and I'm looking forward to the next 9 episodes.
Yeah. Alex, I'm sorry your internet was not good for this conversation.
No worries. It's just is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely the least talkative you've ever been on a podcast.
Some people might prefer it that way.
And listeners don't think it's because we were stopping him from talking. He's got bad internet where he's at the moment. I don't want anybody to hear this and think that we've been drowning him out or something.
Yeah, that's...
we would do that anyway.
The reality is I talked for hours and you left all of it on the cutting room floor.
Well, that's also true. I mean, yeah. I couldn't believe the things you were saying about, about those people. You can't just go on the internet and say those inflammatory statements and expect us to leave them in.
Damn it, Thad, yes I can. If I can't come on to Infinite Diversity and defame at least 5 people, where can I do it?
You have your own show.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't want the blowback to be on me, I want it to be on you.
Fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alex, thank you so much for joining us. Speaking of your own show, where can listeners find you online? Do you have any other work you want to mention?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Alexander T. Perry. You can also find my weekly Star Trek news show, Weekly Trek, which is at Weekly Trek. And you can also find my work over at TrekCore. Currently, we're in the process of posting all of the screen caps that I've finally gotten around to doing from the Blu-rays. So those are coming out.
Excellent.
In process.
Coolness.
Are you guys going to do 4K screen caps of the Strange New Worlds?
4K is really hard to do screen caps for, so it'll probably just be the Blu-rays.
Gotcha.
Because we've not quite figured out how to do the 4Ks, but they'll still look really good.
They do.
They will.
They do, yeah.
All right, Chrissy, where can people find you when you're not instigating a false flag operation to start a war?
Oh, in today's political climate, I don't know. Right. Yes, in addition to here at Infinite Diversity, you can find me on History with the Szilagys here on the BQN, that twice weekly short history podcast I do with my fellow historian partner Jason, where you won't hear us talking about false flag operations, but you might very well hear us talking about actual operations that feel like it's going to become World War III. Also happy to chat about our shows in the BQN Collective on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter at the Goddess Livia, that's TheGoddessLivia, where I tweet about Star Trek history and leftist politics. Let's see. Thad, where can people find you when you are not looking for a new career to start because you're actually 500 years old?
If I were 500 years old, I would assume that I would made enough money already and wouldn't want any more careers.
But the boredom.
Nah, I'll just watch Star Trek. It's fine.
Oh, okay, that works.
Best place to find me is on Twitter. I am at Tyrannicus. That's TYRANICUS. You can also hear me on the podcast I do with my friend Carl called License to Spiel, where we talk about James Bond and James Bond adjacent things. That's license spelled with a C like the British do it.
And don't forget all of our other great shows here on the BQN Collective.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Mark, Christos, and Kelvin. Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey, a self-proclaimed gamer who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. If you're lost in the Delta Quadrant, check out The Captain's Couch, a Star Trek Voyager podcast hosted by Jeremiah sitting on Janeway's Ready Room couch. Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed but should definitely check out, hosted by Mark, Matt, and Laz. Beam Aboard the Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Amy, Joe, Rhea, and Kevin. History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissy and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissy and Thad. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey. Union Federation, covering all things Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Star Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Spill the Tea with What's the Tea, Bev, a Trek current events and fan interview show hosted by Christos. And for our Patreon members, we have The Hive Mind, BQN's monthly roundtable discussion with hosts and listeners. It's Green, a cornucopia of topics hosted by Mark, and Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek, hosted by Amy. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Infinite Diversity. Thank you to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music and Mark White for the awesome show art. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast player, and don't forget to rate and review us there as well.
And if you'd like to reach out, you can find the network on Twitter at BQN Podcasts and our show specifically at IDIC Podcast. You can also talk about any and all of the shows on our Facebook group, the BQN Collective. And when you next hear from us, we'll be talking about the second episode of Season 2 of Strange New Worlds, Ad Aspera per Aspera. Until then, we bid you peace and long life.
cute do we want to play this and pretend? Do we want to pretend that we are recording this after the episode has aired or not? Because if we do, then I would talk about how I saw them both at the same time at the premiere that I haven't been to yet.
But, okay, here's the thing I've been worried about with this.
Yeah.
What if there's some drastic news that happens between now and then? What if somebody dies or something?
Right.
You know?
And we've never said we... And we've never said we don't. And the episode... The last time Alex was on, where we went on to that long rant about how people need to treat their screeners better, I think we pretty much heavily implied that we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, how do we want to play this for the vis-a-vis the conversation? And should we maybe have talked about this before we start recording?
That's all right. You can edit it out very easily. You'll know. It's just a chunk, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm fine with treating this as we have the screener and we're recording this ahead of time because we need to, and that's the point of having the screeners.
Yeah.
And then
that is very much the point of having the screener. Yeah.
Right. And then when we get into episode 2, we can be like, hey, you didn't get a chance to talk about the premiere last week, and then you can talk about it there.
Yeah. Okay.
I kind of want you to throw in the surprised hamster noise when you're like, we're recording this before it airs. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway.
Or the da 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 da.
Yeah, you can do that. All right.
Alex is just
like,
sitting there muted, shaking his head at us.
No comment.
Right. We all gave our comments about people with screeners, and it's not like this is going to be out.
Yeah, no, it's just sort of, we dug a little bit of a hole for ourselves by never talking about the screeners, so then we sort of have to, like, figure out what we were doing just now.
Yeah. There's no need. It's all right.
Because we did the opposite thing of what the people we don't like do.
Keep a secret that you're supposed to keep? Oh my god.
Yes. The minstrel boy to the war has gone. In the ranks of death you will find him.
His father's sword
he hath girded on, and his wild harp slung.
Now you have to leave it all in, because otherwise you got to cut out the singing.
I have to cut out the singing. Let's be fair.
Just stick it on the end. They'll be like, why are they singing Minstrel Boy?